Well, now we turn to a more serious topic regarding your health. Each year, 60,000 new cases of Parkinson's disease are diagnosed in the United States. That's equal to a packed Hard Rock Stadium. And those new cases come on top of the roughly 1 million Americans who are already living with the disease. Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disorder that causes the brain to slowly stop production of dopamine, a neurohormone essential to regulating body movement and emotions. Exercise has been found to improve the quality of life for those with Parkinson's, but still there is no cure. The National Parkinson's Foundation has raised over $200 million and put that money to work doing clinical research, community outreach, and Parkinson's education. And joining us now with more about the foundation's efforts here in South Florida, including the upcoming Moving Day Broward event taking place on May the 7th, is Scott Kleiman, chair of the Parkinson's Foundation's Moving Day Broward, and committee member Marta Fernandez. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
And we know this is a very personal issue for both of you because both of you have dealt with or are dealing with a loved one who has Parkinson's. Marta, we know your mom passed away just last year after suffering with Parkinson's for over 15 years. Tell us a little bit about your mom.
My mom was fantastic. She was a light in our family. She was the person everybody went to. She kept us going, and she expected us to move along with her. So she was that type of person, very independent in her own way. And so when she found out she had Parkinson's, which, as I said, 15 years she was diagnosed, but it could have been longer. Because we'll talk a little bit about what a lot of patients don't know. They have them. They have the Parkinson's disease. But she was just, a little bit devastated because she kind of felt like that light was going to shut off slowly. Yeah. But she was able to live very comfortably, well, for many years, even with the Parkinson's. And she was able to get some good care, until she came to that last stage where she was deteriorating rather rapidly, and she was just somebody else, somebody different.
And Scott, your father has Parkinson's. He's living with Parkinson's. Tell us a little bit about your father.
Well, my father is the patriarch of the family. He is also the joker and keeps everything light and interesting. He was a college professor, taught computer science with a master's in electrical engineering. And for him, it's a little frustrating because for somebody who is that smart, sometimes finding the right words that he's trying to express, he knows them in his mind, but they just don't come out. And he's slowing down, and you see the effects of Parkinson's, but unlike what people are used to with Muhammad Ali or Michael J. Fox with the tremors, you don't see that with my father. It's more moving slowly, or the frustration of not being able to dial phone rapidly, not being able to do things as quickly or as keenly as he used to.
Yeah. So let's talk about what Parkinson's is. For people who are watching this and they've heard of it, again, they've seen Michael J. Fox, who had the tremors. Muhammad Ali really had the tremors. They think that that is the disease. Tell us what Parkinson's is.
Well, Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disease or disorder that affects the production of dopamine in the brain. It slows it to almost a stop. And when that happens, you lose control of movement, you lose control of your body, and even your emotions. But Parkinson's is one of those diseases that there's not one or two particular symptoms that one can look at to diagnose it. Sure, tremors and shaking are one. Having difficulty speaking or swallowing, slowed movement, sleep disorders, pain. They're all different disorders that when people look at it, they often misdiagnose what Parkinson's is.
I was going to say, they might think it's something else, especially if you're having trouble sleeping. You don't automatically go to Parkinson's. You might think that it's some other issue. Marta, tell us about your mom. You said that was the case too, right? That it took a while to diagnose it.
She was not having tremors. Basically, it was she was shuffling a little bit. She started shuffling, and she herself thought, there's something going on. And at first, even her doctor didn't think it was Parkinson's. But slowly but surely, she went to a neurologist, and she was diagnosed. As Scott said, they're all different symptoms that you'll see in the different patients. And for her, it was mostly just rigidness, and she would lose her balance easily. She fell a number of times. Luckily, she never broke a hip or anything like that. But the mask, one of the things my mom loved to do was to smile. She had a terrific smile, and everybody would smile around her. So, this masked face, which is typical of Parkinson's patients, and it's very hard to tell. They look like they're sad all the time. Not necessarily, but that's just something they can't control. They can't control their facial muscles at some point, so their emotions are masked.
A big part of it, yeah. So when we talked a little bit earlier too about some of there's no cure. I mean, and that's what the foundation is trying to do, is to raise money to find a cure for Parkinson's. There are medications, but over time, Scott, we were talking about how they stop working, and you really need to have other therapies for people,
Correct.
right? Which is kind of what Moving Day is all about.
And in fact, it's pretty much exactly what Moving Day is about, is to help educate the community. Movement is important for flexibility and to be able to not have that rigidity, to be able to continue to have mobility. There are all sorts of programs that are out there at a variety of centers throughout South Florida, for example, that offer Parkinson's patients Tai Chi, boxing, dance, yoga, that help with that mobility, that flexibility, because the longer you're able to do that, you're able to stay more independent and also to stay healthier. A lot of people mistake Parkinson's for somebody being drunk, and there's actually a kit that the National Parkinson's Foundation hands out, and one of the cards in there says, "No, I'm not drunk."
Oh, wow.
So these are things that are out there that we try to stress and offer those programs. And Moving Day, one of the other things it does is it helps raise money for local programs to assist Parkinson's patients and their families with all of these different options and resources.
And how close are we to finding a cure? Since you've been involved, what strides have you seen taken that are getting us closer to it?
Well, there are new drugs being developed all the time, but there are drugs that have been prescribed for 20, 25 years that if you have Parkinson's, this is what you get. What they're trying to find are new therapies, deep brain therapies, to try to either offset the symptoms or beat Parkinson's. And the research continues, much like a lot of other diseases that are debilitating. There's not a cure yet, but the work continues.
And Marta, I know you were saying that when you started, you got involved with Moving Day. That was one of the first things you really did with the Parkinson's Foundation, correct?
Yes, correct. I became involved about 3 years ago with the Moving Day Miami, and I was going out to the Moving Day events and helping to raise awareness and money. One of the things I learned from Moving Day, that's why I think it's such an important event, is that there are all of these resources. That movement and mobility is so important for these patients. By that point, Mom wasn't that mobile herself, but I really wish I would have known about all of that before, so she would have possibly had had those resources available to her. And also, it's just a wonderful place to come and find out about resources for caretakers. NPF has online resources. They have a helpline, and it's 800-4PD.
Info.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll get that up on our website too for people so that they know where to go. But I imagine too, as caregivers and family members dealing with a loved one who has it, support is just so key, correct? In your experience, Scott, has that been very helpful, having support?
Yeah, it is, and it's difficult because for a lot of families, and Marta's was a perfect case, the primary caregiver is the other person that's there, the spouse.
Right.
And they're also older. So it's hard for them to help and assist because they've got to be able to, in some cases, lift the person up, help them to their feet, feeding them, dealing with just daily activities, the essential personal activities, that it's tough and it's a drain on them, and you need to have that support group. And NPF does provide assistance and resources for people that are dealing with having to be the primary caregivers.
Thank you both so much for coming in and telling your personal story. I know sometimes it's not easy, but it really helps a lot of other people as well. So thank you so much.
Thank
and good
you.
luck with
Thank you for
Moving Day.
having us.
That's going to
Thank
be
you.
really a great event. So,
We think so.
yeah, good luck.
May 7th at NSU.
May
There you
7th.
go. Roughly 1 million Americans who are already living with the disease. Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disorder that causes the brain to slowly stop production of dopamine, a neurohormone essential to regulating body movement and emotions. Exercise has been found to improve the quality of life for those with Parkinson's, but still there is no cure. The National Parkinson's Foundation has raised over $200 million and put that money to work doing clinical research, community outreach, and Parkinson's education. And joining us now with more about the foundation's efforts here in South Florida, including the upcoming Moving Day Broward event taking place on May the 7th, is Scott Kleiman, chair of the Parkinson's Foundation's Moving Day Broward, and committee member Marta Fernandez. Welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. It's an honor
Great.
to be here.
And we know this is a very personal issue for both of you because, well, now we turn to a more serious topic regarding your health. Each year, 60,000 new cases of Parkinson's disease are diagnosed in the United States. That's equal to a packed Hard Rock Stadium. And those new cases come on top of the rough